Welcome to Aiken Business Matters, and we are very fortunate today. We have Corey Burns, the director of Burns Dance Studio, here with us today, and we're going to talk about a number of things, but I know that Corey's really excited because they're getting ready to open a new location in Aiken, and he's been planning it for quite some time. He's spent a lot of time with it, and we're excited for him, and we'll hear about that as we get into the interview. But Corey, welcome to the program today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us in.
I tell you what, this is it's a good time to be in Aiken, isn't it?
It is. It is good. Good time.
Corey, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, of course, I'm Corey Burns, and director at Burns Dance Studio. And prior to there, I was a principal in the public school system of Saluda and an administrator in Aiken County, public school teacher. Grew up in Aiken, and always danced my whole life, but always participated in sports with the city and at South Aiken High School, and just always had the opportunity to pursue dance as kind of a hobby, and then it turned into some professional work for me when I was in high school and college, and always stayed active in the studio while teaching school, and even when I was a principal, I taught or 1 or 2 days a week, and then the opportunity opened up several years ago for me to step out of the school system and into the studio full-time to help my mom as she was, maybe contemplating retirement, but as we jumped in together, things just started taking off a little bit in a new direction, and we realized that in order for us to sustain our business and grow our business, we needed to get out of our current location, which she had been in since 1987. So we began the process of expansion, and right. To date, we're getting close to it.
Well, she's certainly been a fixture in the community here in Aiken. Corey, how long have you lived in Aiken?
We've been in Aiken as a family since 1982.
Okay.
We moved here. What brought my parents here was manufacturing. My dad was a plant manager, and then my mom came and had that background in education and dance and decided to make it go.
Well, I'm certainly glad you did. There's no telling how many families have been impacted by your mom over the years, and now you. So that's kind of a nice thing to think about, isn't it?
It is. When you talk about both of us starting off as school teachers and wanting to shape and mold lives of children, she obviously had the gift of dance and passed it along to me, and through my training, hopefully will pass along to other people. So it's tricky because, we love the passion of teaching and being around kids, but then we also have to run the business.
Right. Well, there's a lot of correlation because that's all you do in dance is teach, really. So I guess the art of the dancing. What areas of dance do you like to teach best?
Well, for me personally, I really enjoy the jazz, the tap, and the hip hop. I do have enough knowledge base to teach the ballet and not necessarily the acro, but those are the three things that I focus on, and mostly the kids that are in our studio are under the age of 16, which is kind of right in my wheelhouse. I'm an elementary principal, elementary educator, so that's what I like to do. But we have other teachers that teach other things.
Right. The ballet has always been something that's fascinated me from the standpoint of when you really look at it very closely, the physical dexterity and just the strength that it takes to do so many of the things. My wife and I were watching, Steve Harvey has a new show. Have you seen it?
I have not.
But he brings on mostly children, in the 9, 10, 11, there may be a few older than that. But he had on a young boy and a girl on this past weekend, and they were both studying the art of ballet.
Yeah.
And they just were incredible.
It is the foundation, for our kids who want to perform and do dance at the next level. When I feel like in college or in a career, we strongly encourage them to take ballet. It is the foundation for all the other dances for the reasons you mentioned, the flexibility, the dexterity, the pointing of the toes, the posture. I say this all the time. I work with college dance team, and I say I can take a ballet dancer and turn them into a jazz dancer. It's very easy to do, but you can't go the other way because that ballet foundation sets it for everything else, including tap. So we strongly recommend our kids to take ballet. Our performing company kids have to take ballet.
Well, it's amazing to me because of the timing that these two. I mean, one of them was 10 and the other was like 11, I think. Mm-hmm. And the synchronization that they had in the movement was just flawless, and it almost reminded you of an athletic event,
right.
Something like tennis, but because tennis almost sometimes looks, you could set it to music the way that they go back and forth, and the timing, and and just being at the right place at the right time, but the lifts and the strength that go along with it, it's just, you got to be in good shape.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline.
Oh God.
So, and that's one of the things we try to instill in our kids, whether they come once a week, 3 times a week, or 5 times a week, is the discipline of dance, of knowing what it is that you need to accomplish that day, the task that we put forth with them in the classroom, and then also know what the long-term goal is. They either perform in the recital or perform at a convention. Those are life skills that we try to explain to our kids, because dance is the vehicle that allows them to get those life skills. There's a famous person in our industry, Joe Tremaine, who also says dance is life training. And so where we break it down in our studio is that, whether you're going to be a professional dancer or not is the decision of the parents and the family. We can make that happen in our studio, but we just want to have fun, and we want the kids to enjoy it and want them to develop that discipline to know, okay, I've got to be at the studio today at 4:30. Am I going to do my homework before? Am I going to do it after? How is this all going to work out? Because as an adult, those are skills that you have to have with your daily routine. So that's not missed in our studio at all, and it's more about dance. And that was one of the impetuses for the new studio, is to create the homework center in the back and in places where kids can come after school and still get things done, and have a snack bar where they can have some food, so that there's an emphasis on the whole child. And that's why we also have comprehensive tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, contemporary, with instructors that specialize in those things. I mean, that kind of sets us apart a little bit, and we're not like 1 or 2 people that teach everything.
Right. You mentioned the new facility. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the dance studio is right around the corner from our current location, so folks
Right.
don't have to travel far, next to Floyd and Green Jewelers.
Right.
It's 7,000 square feet with 3 full-size dance rooms. We have 2 lobbies, so we can accommodate enough people. I say it's a dance studio. I've designed, and our building design is for a multifunctional building. So we can have assemblies, or we could have church services on Sunday, or something
Right,
like that.
sure.
Because we recognize in Aiken there's not a lot of big areas where people can conglomerate. And so our focus Monday through Thursday and Friday will be dance. And we do have, obviously, the handicap restrooms, and we have the dressing rooms. We'll have lockers for the kids in the back, storage outside of the rooms. And then we also have a little space just to sell some merchandise and shoes that people may need, not like a full-blown store or anything.
Right. But the basic things that they have to have.
Basically, everything that we do now in our current studio, just in a bigger location, and so that we can just take on more business. I mean, we believe dance is fun, and we love to watch kids dance, and we know that the brain enjoys music and rhythm. That's just brain research, so why not dance? So we want to make it an opportunity for more kids.
Yeah, I have to admit something. When I was probably, I want to say I was probably in the 9th grade, my mother said, evidently she and a bunch of the other mothers got together, and they decided that their sons were going to end up taking ballroom dancing. Okay. So we did ballroom dancing. We all kicked and screamed, but you know what? I was so glad later on in life that I did that. Yeah. And it was, I don't think any of the guys ever admitted it, but I think we really had a good time doing it.
Sure.
It was just, but like you say, it was, you see when you do anything like that, when the coordination of your body, you're doing something that you don't normally do. And like most guys, I probably had 2 left feet. Well, they still use that term.
Oh yeah.
Well, I feel like I had 2 left feet, but anyway, when we got through with it, we were fairly proficient. Yeah. And they were very patient with us to a degree. Yeah. But they made us stay on task, and it was something that you take with you all your life. Like you said, it's a life skill that you learn when you do through it.
And we have a significant amount of boys in the program, in our hip hop program especially, so we'll continue to grow that and eventually expand with our sports and agility classes, which I haven't mentioned, but I've had those in the past. We just ran out of space, where we have kids who are involved in athletics. Yeah. They come in and do the agility drills and sports drills. Some of the things that I've been exposed to as a trainer or person, with fitness through Gold's Gym, when I work with those folks as well. So the impetus for the new building was just to be able to expand all of our operations, and also have a facility that folks can come in and use as a banquet hall or a birthday parties and things like that. So,
but just something that's going to not only be used, I can tell you want it to be used 7 days a week.
Yeah, if possible. Basis, and that's the thing is, people, in the chamber has mentioned to me, we just need more banquet space in this town. And so I thought, as we were putting the design together, it's an assembly coated building with sprinklers and all that stuff. So whatever happens,
Yeah, but the
primary focus is dance, obviously, but
Right.
if folks have a need to it, have them contact
But
me.
looks like you've thought of a lot of different, it's not just something for you, but you want it to be something where you're able to furnish a facility for the community. So it's giving back to the community.
And we have a good relationship with the Floyd and Green Jewelers next door,
Right.
and so we're looking to do maybe a comprehensive plan for that real estate there with the lot they have next to it. So it's just kind of one of those things that just all happened at once, and it just all seems to be coming together, and that's why I feel good about it.
Right. The whole process of any kind of business is you have to worry about the business side of it. You have to worry about the dance side of it. You worry about the curriculum that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more to it than just out there teaching.
Yeah.
There's stuff to do behind the scenes.
And that's where I just draw on my experience as a principal,
Yeah.
and knowing that I could teach some of the reading and some of the math and some of the social studies, whatever the subjects are, but my responsibility was to oversee the operations of the school,
Right.
not only day to day, but also the future. So you just take those skills and apply it to the dance business. And I like for our teachers to be able to come in and teach and enjoy the kids and do what they do,
Right.
and then let me worry about the headaches of the business, because that's quite honestly what I signed up to do. But it's just a challenge that I face.
So there's almost a disconnect, but then there's a connection between the business side and the art side of it.
Yeah, it's a primarily arts business.
Right.
Most people that own dance studios, just like my mom and I, we have
Yeah.
a passion to teach dance and enjoyment of watching kids perform on stage and seeing that result. But the level of which the business acumen to the people that run it can vary. And so if it's much like a car. I mean, you want to have a strong engine, and our engine is our product of teaching kids how to dance.
Right.
But you know what? It's nice to have some of those bells and whistles on your car that make the experience all that better.
Right.
So, is a new dance studio going to make us better dance teachers? There's some things we can do differently in terms of our delivery of instruction. But it's just that the facility itself will allow more folks to access the studio and have a better experience. And, in Aiken, it's just not had one of the facility like that. I've been all over the country, literally teaching at dance classes, dance studios, dance conventions. And it's kind of an amazing dream to have this in Aiken, and I know that the community, once they see the building, it's not fancy, it's very functional. So looking forward for folks to come and see it. Should be done hopefully in July.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to that being a part of the Aiken fabric. And as you've gone through the process and you're ready to get in there, do you have an opening date or time that you'd like to be in there by?
First 2 weeks of July. Our contractor is HBC, and they've been there every day. There's not a day that's gone by since that building started that they have not been working on it.
Good.
So I appreciate them doing that, and their details. So hopefully the first couple weeks in July, we'd like to have our big July intensive in the new studio where we bring in guest artists and stuff. So, and then from then on, we'll just continue to use that building. Our current studio is going to have some tenants in it, and keep on going.
How is the I don't want to call it a business, but how is the art of the dance studio? How have you seen that move forward in the years and since you got into it?
Since I've been into it the past 3 years, we've really tried to expound upon the idea of dance being just more fun and more mainstream.
Right.
Traditionally, people would send their kids to dance classes. If you sent your kids to a ballet class or a ballet studio, generally there's like a nutcracker involved. Mm-hmm. And when I say the dance, the ballet.
Right.
In our situation, while we do have the ballet program, we also know that kids like to dance at school events. They like to perform for their churches. And so what we've seen evolve with shows that have come on TV is the evolution of more performance-based dance outside of just traditional ballet. So we have only really about 10% of our kids take 5 classes a week. Most of it is just your general population like to take 1 or 2 classes. And we've seen that kids are busy. We know busy kids stay out of trouble.
Yes.
I joke all the time with parents. I say, as kids grow up, you can either pay for your kids' activities or you're going to pay for bail because they're going to find trouble.
Exactly.
And they laugh at that, and it is kind of a funny thing, but in the end, we just want to be that outlet for parents to know they can come and have a good structured environment with good teaching, good dance instruction that's not going to harm them. And at the end of the day, when it comes time to college, wow, they can actually try for a college dance team and get financial support in college. Or they can literally move and work in the business, because we have kids that working in Disney World right now. We have kids that are performing on, in entertainment, where we have kids who are in LA. And that's just an amazing thing to think about, that because of your studio and what you've provided for them, that they're making a living doing what you added to that. It's mind-blowing.
I'd never thought about that, but there are a lot of theme parks around, like Six Flags, that have dance teams that all over the place doing different things. And
yeah, there's Six Flags. I mean, and what happens is these kids, they say, wow, I want to try the industry. They go to an audition, they find out they can work in Orlando, and so you dance a little bit, but then you do some of the business ends of things. And next thing you know, they've transitioned from the dance world into the business side of the dance world. They're still involved with what they love. Mm-hmm. And it's because they grew up in Aiken, and attended Burns Dance Studio. It's kind of a cool thing.
How is Aiken as a community? Does it embrace dance?
Aiken's arts community is amazing for a town this size. You look at just the relationship we've developed the past 2 years with the community playhouse has been great, because a lot of those kids understand they have to have singing, acting, and dancing, and then we've kind of crossed that bridge where we come down to them and help them out, and we've had some kids come to our studio. If you look at the whole Aiken Civic Ballet and the ballet structure of having a town that can have those things, and then you look at the Center for the Arts.
Yes.
So in terms of just the amount of arts in this town, and I think a lot of it's because we have an upwardly mobile society. We have parents in this town that have middle class values, that want to see their kids in all different types of programs. We just want to be that alternative to say, hey, if it's dance, check out Burns Dance Studio. But you even have the Parks and Recreation Department with the Hopeland Garden series,
Sure.
and how they promote the arts, because it's the whole other side of the brain. So you've got a lot of people in this town that are, educated technically with engineering and accounting and all that, but then you've got a lot of people in the town that want to promote the arts. And when you've got both avenues in a town like Aiken, it's no wonder why it's easy to sell people on Aiken, And as we try to continue to grow with young families
Right.
and young professionals, I don't think we can highlight that enough. And I'll beat the drum everywhere we go.
Well, you're right, and we've on the city. I tell you what, we're really fortunate here to our city council and our mayor and our city manager are all very much into promoting Aiken businesses, things that are happening in Aiken. So, we thank them for allowing us to have shows like Aiken Business Matters and Embry's program that Aiken this week, that things that are going on that are happening. And we've been contemplating, because just like you said, so many different things have been going on in Aiken in the arts side, but you take the equestrian and the arts side, that's a tremendous amount of what's happening in Aiken after hours.
And I believe nobody really opens up a dance studio because they want to live in fancy beach houses and drive fancy cars. It's not our focus. But at the end of the day, having a town that can support those types of arts, where we do have people that teach piano commercially,
right.
and people that teach, and we're licensed businesses with insurance and all that, it's a beautiful thing. And you can't go to a lot of communities and get that level of depth with it. So,
you're right.
And that was one of the other reasons why we felt comfortable about go ahead and building an expansion, is that Aiken's got a progressive idea now that hopefully we feel like we got the right people in place with yourself and Rick and those people that are really trying to push that. So 10 years from now, we have that more of those families that want to come in. And like I said, we just want to be that outlet for dance.
And Corey, you made a really great point in the fact that, as we look to attract young families into Aiken and support them in things that they want to do, the one thing that they all ask for us, what can our children do? And they look for the arts for the children. They look for athletics for the children. And and like you said earlier, if you have a child that's involved in dance or athletics, they're gonna stay out of trouble, because their mind's going to be focused on learning and doing and being successful there. And it teaches them teamwork too. I know that's a part of what you do.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why about the having the facility where we wanted to locate it on the south
Right.
side, was so that you can get everywhere you need to be. You can get to Citizens Park, you can get to downtown, you can get all the places that your other kids, because one kid may dance, one kid may be in soccer, one kid may dance, one may be in tennis. So whether they do tennis at the City of Aiken, or any other country clubs or whatever. But that's just the beauty of Aiken is, people complain about traffic on Whiskey Road, but relatively speaking, ask anybody from Atlanta or New York or wherever, they'll kiss they'd love to have a Whiskey Road issue.
Yes.
Because it does take you time, but comparatively speaking. But I'm obviously a fan of Aiken. Grew up in Aiken. But in terms of the business model, we felt like, based on the research we had done and being in other places, that if we go ahead with this expansion, that it will be able to sustain itself.
I think you're right. There are a lot of you can see a lot of growth taking place in Aiken. It's very planned and exponential in the way that it's happening, and I think that's the best kind, rather than so many areas just come pop and it doesn't sustain. But the growth that we have, it looks like it's going to be a sustainable type growth, and we applaud you you and your mom for taking this step of faith to do this.
It's a big one.
It is, but I hope it comes through to our viewers that you and your mom. I know your mom, but you too have a real passion for doing this and seeing children's success. It's almost like, well, I guess it is. It's teaching and coaching are the same thing.
It is, and when you see, there's no better feeling for you to know that kid had success on a stage,
right?
In being in front of people, because they're going to take that skill and they're going to go into an interview. They're going to do a presentation for a company. They're going to have to sell themselves.
Yep.
And I think one of the benefits of being in our dance studio is the way we can have enough kids in classes so they perform for other kids. We do several shows a year. We have performance opportunities with festivals and things like that.
Right.
Because, like I say, it's more than just the dancing. It's the life training. It's getting up in front of people. It's doing like a show like this where I feel like, okay, because of my dance training growing up, I'm able to be in front of somebody and in our case talk, but in other cases, perform.
My wife was an elementary school teacher for years, and she always said if some very shy students that got involved in something of the arts, like dancing especially, that it really helped them come out of their shell. It made them, they felt, I guess it's a confidence level that it sustains in children. They don't feel shy anymore. Maybe they still feel a little shy, but they have more confidence to get up in front of people because they know that what they're going to do, they know how to do it, and they know that they've done it well, and they're ready to go.
That is the key. And what happens is, when we work with our kids in the studio, we talk about that preparation. We talk about, okay, we know the show's going to be in May, and there's a path up to it. And we talk to our teachers about making sure they understand that path, because in the end, it's a goal. And in life, you're going to have goals. Nobody earns a college degree in a day. It's a 4-year process. Our studio, we have a process from August to May. And I think the more kids start to learn that and consciously teach it to them, that it makes them more aware. Especially in the school system when they have that testing at the end of the state.
Right.
It's not the end of the world, state testing, but it's a goal. So let's talk about that goal in August. And in our case, it's dance and it's the curriculum. And let's talk about what do we want to learn this year. And then at the end of the year, you celebrate that success with a recital, but you also talk about it in class. It's like, look how far you've come. We video our kids a lot.
Right.
And let them watch it. And not from the standpoint, am I good or am I bad, or somebody will laugh at me, but just look at your personal growth. Look at the feedback you've gotten from your teachers and how you've applied that, because we're all going to have a boss someday, and we're all going to have somebody who's going to look at our work that we're so proud of and maybe say something negative about it. How are you going to handle that?
Well, you and I've had to deal with that.
Yeah,
so we
it's
understand.
just one of those things that we want to bring as a part of our dance curriculum. And we feel like, my mom has still had years left that she wants to contribute, and she's at her will.
I can't imagine your mom retiring.
No, she's still kicking and a part of the day-to-day operations,
Right.
and lots of great ideas. Her costuming is fabulous, and what she can do, just in her vision of how the costumes work with the kids, and running that preschool program when they come in.
She can still light a room up.
I'm gonna tell you, she's like, and she'll tell them, shoes got to come in untied. Your shoes got to come in tied. Get your jacket off. Let's go. And that sense of urgency that kids need to. They'll tell you all the time, and if you have kids, they don't listen to us, but sometimes they listen to somebody else that says the exact same thing.
Exactly.
So if we can be that avenue that says the exact same things to reinforce at home, it's a win-win.
It is a great program. The whole thing that certainly I get from you is that it's a commitment. It's not only from the children, but from the family as well. Is that a hard thing to translate to the parents, the need for consistency in the training and the rehearsals and the lessons?
It is. It is on the face value of it. It's much easier to do after they've been in it for that 1 or 2 years, because then they're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But unless you've had a parent that may have grown up as an athlete or
Right.
as a dancer, they understand it. But it can be a tricky slope, because you want the kids to be performing well, and you want them to do that, but they also understand they have got to be at class and they've got to be prepared. So sometimes, if a parent's having a hardship, you've got to just massage that
Sure.
a little bit. That's part of the business side. We don't want anybody not to come to dance because they don't want to be there.
You see it, I'm sure, but in athletics, I coached over the years many different sports as my son was growing up, and today I see as many grandparents taking their grandchildren to lessons because mom and dad are working and whatever, but it's still important for the family to get somebody in the family to invest that time to get them there and when you have recitals, it's probably standing room only.
We rent out the Convocation Center. We have a huge show. Next year we'll probably have to break it into 2 shows. Last year we had about 2,400 people come.
Wow.
But we encourage that.
2,400.
Yeah, we encourage that because we know that it's a celebration.
Yeah.
And so you got grandparents and parents and siblings, and we want them to come and feel comfortable. So we do rent out the whole place. We have concessions involved. We put out 700 chairs on the floor. They can sit, people in the bowl. So while it's not the ideal artsy situation, for our business model and for what we do, it's the best thing for us. As Bell Auditorium is too far away.
Right.
But that's their performance. That's their excitement. That's their big deal at the end. And we want to make it special for them, so we try to make it as comfortable as possible with our 2 acts and how we do intermission and how we have people come backstage at certain times.
So they get real life application of what they're going through.
It is no better real life application than being able to work for a good 9 months to a goal and then do it and then walk off stage and feel proud about it, and everybody's there to celebrate your success. It's a magical moment for us in the Burns Dance Studio, because all of our teachers are there for the most part, and if they're not, well, one's having a baby and her due date's the same as the show, so we don't expect her to be there, but that's just a big culminating event. And then Monday morning we go back in, we put the studio back together with the floors and all that we take out, and it's back to work for the summer.
Well, you've mentioned a couple of times, and I was going to ask you about how has modern technology played into the dance studio, and you say you video the different...
We video the kids, play it back. We let them video themselves on the phone. We'll have somebody else use their phones if they're old enough, so they can get video footage right then. Social media has helped us tremendously with just parents being aware of what's going on, and then also posting things. The kids post stuff. We believe that if you go to a dance studio to look and see whether it's good or not, watch a class your kid's in, and then watch the best dancers in the studio. If the best dancers in the studio aren't wow or impressive, then you kind of don't, where your investment's going. And so, social media helps us get that message out. Just in terms of our industry, it's been huge, because all the shows on TV and the dance conventions use social media to promote to the kids, and then the kids can show us what's going on in these areas, or we can get it too. But the technology within the studio, obviously there's computer software programs that help dance studios run things. The sky's the limit, as with most things technology nowadays, and it'll change in 6 months.
Well, that's true. Cameras, you can do so much with an iPhone or an Android phone today that you had to have a $400 camera to do years ago. So
you can Periscope classes to parents.
Exactly,
you can Facebook videos. And our bottom line is going to be, we're going to keep going what's in the best interest of the kids.
Right.
There's at some point you don't want your kids all over social media all the time, for obvious reasons. But that's always the bottom line question. It's the same thing as in the school system. Is we got to work to the best interest of kids, and then we'll work backwards. And so that's what we try to do.
Okay. Corey, I wanted to. What is a good age? Some young families watching this, or grandparents watching this, and they say, I've got young children or grandchildren that this seems like it would be a great thing for them. How soon is too soon?
Too soon would be for us, it's prior to being potty trained. It's prior to having those things out of the way. We take kids at 2.5 if they're potty trained, 3 years old. We do our preschool program with them. They have to kind of have some sense of individualism where they're not clinging onto their mom all the time. Sometimes dance is a good mechanism to allow that.
Sure.
We have observation windows in all our rooms, so if parents pretend like they want to leave, but yet they can step out and still see. But 3 years old is where we take them, just because the dexterity and the things that we try to teach them to do, we feel like we can get a good technical foundation. It's never too old to start. I have adult programs come in and we do adult tap, and they're learning tap for the first time, and it's the same thing. It's all about the brain development, and so 3 years old is kind of where we take them mostly.
What kind of physical condition does an adult need to be in to take dance?
Just be able to walk in the door.
So you work on that then?
That's part of what we do is the training. It's I work with the adults and I do that adult tap, and we use stuff with foot dexterity and all those little muscles and those fast twitch muscle fibers in the ankles and in the legs. And I tell them, don't be amazed. You'll be amazed at what you can do quickly, just with rhythms. And so we work with that on that.
And too, there's the health benefit of dance is unbelievable.
Mental and physical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a happy time to come in and enjoy the camaraderie of the kids in the studio or the adults, but then also the physical movement, of doing just flaps across the floor is like jogging.
Right. I was reading something the other day, we were talking about it didn't relate to age. It was across all age years, but being able to accomplish something artistically was such a huge thing for people, for your mental health, as you said. So dance is not only good for your physical, but your mental, as you've already stated, and it gives you a lot of sense of satisfaction, but it's good for social interaction and teaching people how to interact with each other and to get along and work as a team and to accept failure with success.
And to your point, we teach with mirrors, and so we want kids. Sometimes they don't even know. I've never seen a full-length mirror till they come in the studio and they see their whole body.
Right.
And it's accepting them for who they are and what they look like, and it's okay. There's no special dance body you have to have.
Right.
And we talk about that too, because so much today now, as you see with everything that's going on in social media and Photoshop and all that, and it's nonsense. Come in and who you are and be yourself and dance how you want to dance, and the rest of it just take care of itself.
Corey, you have really enlightened, I think, all of us as to what Corey Burns and Rhoda are trying to do in Burns Dance Studio. And if I had someone to send to there, I would be more than happy to send them, because knowing what's behind, that's what we really want to see take place in Aiken Business Matters. We want people to be able to see why a business is established and why they're doing the things and what the core principles of the business are. And you've certainly done a wonderful job of I thought I knew an awful lot about what you do, and I know an awful lot more now. But thank you for joining us today. And I guess the message we can leave everybody with that you've certainly shown is that you take anybody, anywhere, anytime.
And to have fun, and not everybody's going to be a professional dancer, but they'll never be nothing.
Right. Corey, good luck, and we look forward to coming visit you in your new studio.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.